Welcome back. Now, as many of you may know, some weeks ago, President Lincoln gave a riveting speech at Gettysburg.
7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
When asked if he meant to include slaves as well, the president had this to say. Whoa! Now, last time on the show, we mentioned that General William T. Sherman had just captured Atlanta. While securing the city, he and his men did what any rational soldiers would do and burned the entire place to the ground. Fortunately for Atlanta residents, Sherman only burned their supplies, storehouses, railroads, crops, homes, and stores. Most of the brothels were left intact. When Sherman was asked by one Atlanta resident if he thought that he had overreacted, he replied by setting the man on fire. Sherman did not stay long, though, declaring that he would march all the way to sea. The campaign is to end with Sherman invading Savannah, which he intends to offer to President Lincoln as a Christmas present, narrowly beating out the president's second choice of a gift, a bulletproof vest. The president was both disturbed and saddened to learn that these vests would not be invented for another 100 years. In other news, the Confederate Army is on its last legs, barely able to withstand the constant assaults from the Union Army. Joining us now from the Confederate lines is senior Confederate correspondent Florence Cookman. Florence?
Thanks, Ambrose. I'm standing here in the trenches of yet another death-filled Confederate camp. The stench of defeat is filling the air, and these men could not have more syphilis if they tried.
Tell us, Florence, how is the morale there? How are the men holding up in these conditions?
Not great, Ambrose. These men just got word that Sherman's army is on its way. They have virtually no chance of survival. Those who survive this attack will likely succumb to their sexually transmitted diseases.
But how did they contract syphilis if there are no women there?
Well, let's just say that if I were still up there in the Union, I might plead the fifth.
Excuse me?
Every soldier here is deathly silent, and many are penning their final letters home to their loved ones. All save Camp Cut-Up Bonkers the Clown.
Bonkers the Clown?
Yes, while he was practicing his knife juggling atop his comically undersized unicycle, he accidentally rolled right into the conscription office and signed up for the war. It was really quite the scene, actually. You should have seen the look on old Bonkers' face. Classic.
But surely these men must have some hope for the future.
I'm sorry to report that even Bonkers' zany antics can't quite remove the lingering feelings of despair here at Camp Happiness.
Camp Happiness?
Yes, in a tragic turn of events, the men voted the camp's name just weeks before hearing the news of Sherman's march to the sea. They'll be voting on a new name later today. The current frontrunner, Camp Inconsolable Sorrow.
Well, at the very least, that seems a bit more appropriate. Florence Cookman, everyone. When we come back, we have General Robert E. Lee joining us. So, stick around.